Action items are going to be the one that,
Okay,
that
we
they.
are live.
Okay, got it.
Good evening, and welcome to Herman J. Russell West End Academy Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in discussion. Any members of the public present and are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Herman J. Russell West End Academy Go Team to order at 5:05 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
Please be sworn present when your name is called. Ms. Tanetta Green, Ms. Lysandra Clark, Ms. Monique Lewis, Ms. Victoria Robinson,
Here.
Ms. Samantha Porter, Ms. Marsha Leverett, Mr. Eric White, Ms. Maury Russell, Ms. Patrice Jordan,
Shifts. I know we had a couple of them before the pandemic.
Mrs. Jordan is here. She is on.
Okay.
I asked her to mute herself. She's preparing for the game.
I got it. Thank you. All right, that's the roll. Chair.
This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ms. Samantha Porter, is there a quorum present?
Yes, there is a quorum present.
Since there is a quorum present, our first action item is the approval of the agenda as emailed. Our first order of business, approval of agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
A second. I second that motion to approve the agenda as emailed. Our next order of business, we will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you via email and they are posted online. Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
I motion to approve the previous meeting agenda minutes.
May I have a second?
I second.
Additional action items is to review the strategic plan updated. And we'll have that information from our lovely Principal Green when we talk about our discussion items. Thereafter, and I need to make a motion to approve that. Make a motion to approve us talking about the strategic plan update during the discussion item. May I have a motion to approve that?
So move.
May I have a second?
I second.
The next action item that we will talk about during our discussion item will be the ranking of the strategic plan priorities. May I have a motion to approve that action item to be discussed during the discussion time?
I motion discussing the ranking of the strategic plan.
Second.
And Ms. Levin seconded. We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. A, the 45-day CIP check-in, which will be discussed by Principal Green.
All right, everyone. Good evening. I will, as you can see on the agenda, the 45-day CIP check-in, it includes a couple of different things. So within that check-in includes the ACES presentation, the school strategic plan, discussion on that progress, and the updates and so forth. So once we get to the portion where it starts discussion, Robinson, I will stop and then you can move into that because now we're going into the discussion part. The principal's report also will live in this. This is considered the principal's report. So when we get to that section, you'll already know that we have already done it. So let's get started because it's a couple of different things we have to go through. It's pretty lengthy. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. So we're going to go through it. And please make sure that you are, if y'all need to stop or restate something, let me know because I'll need your input once we get to the discussion piece on how we rank what we need to do coming for our next meeting. All right, so let's get started. So first, as you can see, now that we've had our first couple of meetings, we're now into the portion of our Go Team timeline where we will talk about the current data. The Go Team will then review what the school may need to change or shift, if anything. We may not have to, but this is the portion where we'll do that. So part of the CIP, that is our continuous improvement plan. So part of that process, we start the planning, we create the plan, and it usually starts in the summer. But throughout the process, there are check-in points that I have to have with our district representatives and our associate superintendent. And so at the 45-day check-in, what typically happens is they go through, they find out, as you can see here, the questions that were considered, what has been completed and what data supports any action steps or anything that we need to implement, change, or rework our strategic priorities. So all of that conversation happens during that check-in that I had. So as you can see here, I'm going to go through the slides. This top of the slides just gives you our goals. So there are 3 slides we're going to go through. The first one here, we talked about our goals last meeting that I told you what our goals were for the school year. And so they are for our 6th graders to increase in literacy by certain percentage points, as you can see, 7th and 8th grade. A certain percentage point, but it's different according to each grade level. But this is our first slide is talking about what our goals were for ELA. So they asked what steps had already been completed, what's already done. And what you see here is that the master schedule has been created to have enough time for our teachers to plan. They have time to plan on various days. So that is a step that's already been done. There are some things that are in progress. That means that we are not all the way there, but they're in progress. And at the bottom, that's where you see where it states implementing Race to Read. That's a program that we have, the district implements that fosters a love of reading. And the second one is classroom strategies are being implemented to align personalized learning. With us, we selected targeted instruction and student reflection and ownership as our focus as far as the personalized learning goes. And so we haven't fully implemented, but we are in the process of creating our strategies and what do we need to do to ensure that we are fully functioning by May. The next one is engaging the teachers in data talks. That means they look at the data, they decide what needs to be done, they sit with their coaches, and it informs their instruction moving forward. And another question that they may ask is, what are some district support that you may need? According to this particular goal, the district support that we were given, they had 2 learning walks, and where they came around and they observed and gave us feedback. And we took that feedback and, did what we had to do, make some shifts in order to make sure we're on track to meet our goals. So this was what we did, the action steps for the first goal. The second goal is around math. And right now, there haven't been any action steps that we outlined in our plan that have been completed. That does not mean that we haven't done anything towards meeting the goal, right? All that means is the steps that we put in place are still in progress, because again, that requires training. We have new staff, we have different initiatives. So things are still in progress. So you won't see anything at the top that says completed. Okay, what we are still in action that in progress is instructional coaches are engaging in weekly one-on-one coaching sessions. That is something that they are in progress with doing. They have not made it around to every single teacher as of yet to coach them in their one-on-ones, but it is in progress. Secondly, engaging our teachers in collaboratively planning with their coach, looking at the units, looking at the lessons, deciding what are some things they may need to go back and reteach, what are some things that they may be able to move forward on to ensure that the students meet that learning target. Again, it's in progress because everyone is still learning how to do that and working with their coaches. And lastly, utilizing the Amplify program, Math 180, using everything, all resources and curriculum that has been given to us by the district with fidelity. And making sure that they're differentiating, they're providing remediation, all of those things that are needed in order for us to meet that goal. That's why we're still in progress, because we have not made it there quite yet, but we are progressing towards meeting that goal. And our last action steps that we looked at, this is completed. This one was our goal as how we plan to increase our attendance. I remember telling you all last time we were at 77%, so we were well on our way to meet the 85%. I'm happy to report that we are now at 85%, so we just have to maintain that. But this is an action step that we put in that plan that has been completed thus far, and that is creating that attendance team that meets weekly, and they decide on those school-wide policies and protocols and incentives that they will push out for our students in order to make sure that we meet that goal. Some things that are still in progress is utilizing our community partners to ensure that, they're all on deck with our plans as well, and identifying those most at-promise students. That means those kids that are at risk for being absent. That means, behavior-wise, it may be emotional issues, mental issues, other things that are taking place that will require us to go back and look and see what we are doing and making sure we are meeting their needs. So again, that is something that's still in progress. So with this is what's considered the action steps, right? This happened during our 45, my meeting on where we are. This is what came about from that meeting. Also, what came about last month, I did a presentation to the district for where we are. It's almost like a state of the school address that you present to the superintendent and talk about, various data points. So I'm going to go through with you all what I presented. And again, this took place last month. So the data will look a little different now. The data from this presentation is what happened last month. So at the time when they asked, how long I had been at the school. They asked about our signature programs. We are Cognia certified. That means, we are working towards being state certified in STEM, and we're looking to do that by 2025. The enrollment at the time was 392. 370 is what we were last year. And so the change is 22 students were added. And that may be off right now. I think we may be a little higher now. First year teachers in the building. That means teachers that are brand new to the profession. We have 2 of those. Number of vacancies at the time was 2. because we had just filled one of our positions, and she just came on board this week, one of our intervention teachers. Personalized learning, that we're wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We are currently on wave 2. What that means, we are the second cohort of schools to go through this process. There was a cohort that went through last year, and this is a new process for us. So again, if you remember back on that action step slide, it said we were in progress for personalized learning. This is what that means. English language learners, they asked about our population, how many students with disabilities, and how many gifted students that we have in our building. We also took a look at our attendance. As you can see, I told you it looks a little different from last month, but as of October the 3rd, the attendance take rate was 97 and our actual rate was 91.6, when our goal is just 85, right? So we have already currently met that goal, and that's highly due to the incentives in the that attendance team. That's a big initiative, rewarding our students for coming to school, and also behavior plays a part in it too. So that means suspension, because if you're suspended, you can't come to school. You're not in school, which contributes to the attendance rate. So we are working to decrease this. The goal for the district, the goal needs to be under 0.5, right? So you can see we are 1.46 as of October. That means that all of our students, out of all the students in the school, they are likely to be suspended at least 1.46 days, right? So that's too high. That's too high of a number. So we are, again, that's in the progress, an action step that is in progress for us. What we do is track it by month to ensure that it's going down. We're decreasing. So that was what they asked about our intervention. So, and this is the map data I showed you all this before, how we did pertaining to last year during the fall, and how we did this year. And we just took map again. So we'll take a look at that data next time we meet, but we have already taken the winter. This was the fall comparisons. They took a look at our HMH. So what that is our intervention. That means when we have the intervention time, we are tracked on how many minutes those students are in the platform. And we're also tracked on how often they are using the sessions. So they have to meet a certain requirement. All students have to be on at least 15 minutes and 2 days a week. As you can see, in the spring, we were there. In the fall, we fall a little short in Read 180. And we fell a little short in Systems 44 as far as our minutes. 15 is the goal. Right now we were at 8, but we met it everywhere else. They asked about what some things that we, again, are in progress with. These are some things we just went over, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get towards the end, when we start ranking what we want and what we need to take place for budget season. And they asked about a couple of things that we will need in our schools to ensure that we are on track to meet our goals. And these are some of the things that we talked about, making sure that at the district level, things are aligned. Things must be aligned. Funding sources for extra days that we want our teachers to plan for signature program. That means PBLs. That's all that creative stuff we need our teachers to have time to do. I asked the district for more money to do that. And so they said they were looking into that for funding. We asked for continued support with building capacity. That means district people coming in to support our coaches and our assistant principals, because it's a lot of work that they ask of them. They go to meetings, I go to meetings, AP meetings, coaches meetings. There are all kinds of meetings that they have to attend, and there needs to be some support on building their capacity to how do they do that, right? How do they implement all of these things that they're being asked to do with fidelity, and not just being asked to just come back and redeliver, but how do they come back and present that information to where they feel supported, right? So I asked for support for them. And I, for some reason, can't see this last one because my little screen is in the way. Let me see. There it is. Okay. And training teachers on how to identify students for the gifted program. We have an amazing gifted coordinator on the call. She is our chair. And so she helps us at the school level with our gifted. As you see, we have 14 kids identified, and she is seeking to grow that. And so in order for her to do her job, we have to have teachers that are highly trained too. They have to know what she's looking for when testing those students and how to identify them. So that training, I believe, is coming up in December, right, Victoria? Yeah, because I remember when I reached out, they started answering. So that's just one of the things that they have definitely looked into checking off our needs. Here is just the milestones data from last year, how we did as math and ELA. And I've shared all the rest of these slides I've shared with you all before. You all have seen this information before. And now is the time where the strategic plan progress. So is there any part that needs to be stated, Robinson, before I move into this piece, or I can keep going? All right, so let's keep going, y'all. So strategic plan progress, where are we? And where are we trying to go in order to prepare for budget season? This, again, you all have seen this numerous times, just the strategic priorities, and we'll do a little activity with this in a second that will break this down a little bit more where you can see it all on one page. So from those goals, remember we have a goal to increase our ELA performance on the test. We have a goal to increase our math, and we also have a goal to increase our attendance. So for the first question, this is where I need you all's input, and I'm going to come off of this particular screen, this large, so I can type. So I need to be able to type in here. So it's asking, are all of our CIP goals reflected in the plan? Right? So that means I'm going to go back, I'm going to be flipping back and forth. Are all of these goals that we talked about here, right? That's at the top here, this here, and the attendance. The question is, are they present in our priorities? So that means if we take a look here, anywhere, if it's addressing ELA improvement, if it's addressing math improvement, if it's addressing attendance, do you see them in the platform, in this, in our priorities? So I'll scroll to the next page. And if you don't, then we need to, either we have two options. We can change what our strategic priorities are, which means add something, or we can modify how we're ranking what we need to do. So that's a discussion amongst us. So I will ask you all again, do you see all of those things that we said we were working towards in our priorities? And again, these priorities, and you can see them at the top, these priorities must live here. So I'll let you all take a look, and you let me know if it's a yes or a no.
I do see our priorities listed in the plan.
Okay. All right. So does everyone agree that we see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so with that, we won't have to answer that second part. Reflected in the strategic priorities. All right, so the second one is, what progress has been made toward the priorities identified in the plan? So let's go back and take a look at that. And so it's going to ask, what evidence, do we have to show? So we'll need to be able to say that as a team. So our priorities identified include improving student mastery, closing the gap with our special needs students and our regular ed students, implementing STEM into our curriculum, creating a positive school culture by embracing all communities and stakeholders. We have prioritized preparing and developing our staff on what quality teaching is. We're also building the capacity in our core content areas. That means the ELA, math, science, and social studies. We're focused on recommending high quality staff for any vacant position. And lastly, ensuring that all of our systems that we have here and resources are aligned to the priorities. So the question, what progress has been made? And anybody can speak out if you see any progress, then you can speak to any progress that has been made at our school that we have said that we were going to do. And I can just jot a couple of them down.
Well, are we talking about progress, I guess, within our child when we see his work or in general?
That would be a good perspective, yes. So if that's something that you would like to add to it, then I think that would be a great addition, Ms. Clark. And so because your child is a part of, our impact, the impact that we're trying to make. And so you can tell us some things and I'll see, if that shows any progress made towards our priorities. And we hope that it is, because what we're doing should be directly aligned to what we said we're doing. So let me hear what you have, Ms. Clark.
I would say it's working because, like my son is in 8th grade, Jaleel, and he came to me this week and went on student portal and checked his own grade and went to the teacher and asked him herself, is it something I can do to pull up this grade? Because I know I was absent 2 or 3 days. So for him to acknowledge it before I catch it or his teacher to say something, that lets me know he's paying attention to what's going on in school and at home on his own.
Very good. That's exactly what we want. So what I put here for that is students doing the heavy lifting. Anything else you all have as far as it relates to our priorities, any progress that we are making towards that?
So, Ms. Green, when you're talking about priorities, it's not like in the reflection of early completed tasks, but just the fact that we started addressing all the tasks.
Right. It's all about progress. If there's been any progress made towards what we said. Yep.
So then the progress would be we are implementing our like our HMH interventions to address math and reading.
Right.
And, I'm sorry, I'm in the building.
Me too. So I'm going on mute too.
And we are providing them
with additional staff,
but
getting additional staff to help. I know we've got some additional funds to bring on some additional people. Would that be one of the things listed up under this?
But one
yes,
thing that he mentioned
absolutely.
was, and particularly he talked about the vest.
What else was in my mind? We've doing data talks with our kids so they can ownership of their data. And I guess that goes back to the heavy lift that you're saying, but that is something that we're implementing, is discussing the data with the students and the teachers.
And the great thing it has proven with your 6th and 8th grade resource teachers, for certain, every single one of their resource students made growth on the MAP assessment. So the data talks are working, the interventions are working.
Right, we definitely have some evidence here. Anything else I need to add?
The attendance team is meeting weekly, and the celebrations are being implemented. As well as care team as well. Yeah, so addressing the whole child needs.
Also, there has been random review of HMH data to make insurance students are using the information or using the system and giving incentives during lunch. And so students have across the board increased, I know for math, they've increased their usage of the program, being intentional about using the program in intervention.
Got it. Okay, I add that next to the data talks. Okay, looks like we may have enough for that one. Let me see if you want to add something else, Ms. Leverett.
I was gonna say, in the admin team monitoring it, so it's the minutes and stuff are actually being monitored and holding both teachers and students accountable.
Okay. All right, so the last part, based upon available data, are there any other adjustments we need to make to the strategic plan? So that means, is there anything we need to add? Is there anything we need to take away? Because what we're saying, according to our other answers, is that our CIP is aligned to what our priorities are. So if there's anything that we would need to add, that would mean we would need to add an action step also to the CIP, the other plan. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that part. So do we feel like there's anything that we need to make any adjustments to in order to make sure we are fulfilling what we said we were going to do?
No, I don't feel so.
Okay.
I was wondering if parent involvement would be one of those.
I think yes. So let's go back. So under the strategies, it's kind of small, and I'll try to
So for
those.
no, you said you addressed everything, but on the progress monitoring, we've had parent curriculum night, we had the FWB parent night, so we are attempting to involve the parents and making them aware of where their students are, scheduling conference. So that's something else that's us making progress on.
Absolutely. So we need to add that to our next check-in, because when this check-in was done back, since our last Go Team meeting, that information that hadn't happened yet. So when we have a next check-in, when I put in for the action steps, when I have that meeting, I'll be sure to add that to it. So it'll be reflected in our next meeting. I'm looking here to where creating a system of school support, and where we have
so then what about just parent notifications? We have our website, we have the push calls, robocalls, emails, that addressing parent notification.
Parent notifications. Okay, yes, that is correct, because I see it says we're staff to contribute, but per what Ms. Lewis was bringing about is that the parental involvement piece, where would you all suggest that lives in our priorities? Because that would live under creating a system of school support. I believe that is something we could add to as a strategy, right? So not necessarily a priority, you see what I'm saying? So we're saying ensuring systems and resources are aligned to our school priorities. Maybe we would need to add another.
But that's a system that supports like attendance, our whole child initiative, by making making parents aware.
Yeah, so let's see if we're going to make some adjustments to this part. Where would that go? So let's see. That would be opportunities. And so that would mean part of our strategies, as you would say, like you said, Ms. Leverett, was the like parent universities and the cluster meetings. Those will be our strategies. So that's the outreach and community. Partners, families. Attending family engagement. It's cluster meetings, parent university. And I'm going to just add other parent, other family engagement events that are led by our parent liaison. Okay. All right, so I'm going to highlight this because this is something that we added. So when it's time to go back, I can't see that because it's already yellow. And then we will be able to come back to it. Okay. So I'm gonna put here. Add. Policies. Okay, did that. We added to the strategic. We added to strategic priorities and strategies. All right, so now that we have created those updates to the plan, this is where I'm just going to copy and paste what we said. That's why I had to go and highlight that to make sure. Here, so copy and paste it here. And I'm going to add the priorities there. And I don't know about y'all, but I can't see that. That's kind of tiny. So, all right. So we have now made some updates to our plan. And it also mentions to note who is responsible. And with that, I have the parent liaison and all of these events really live under family engagement with her. So we can leave that there. So at this point, now that we've made the updates, do we have any questions or any wonderings, comments that need to be made around what we just did as a team? And is everyone clear on what we just did? All right, so that's a yes, we're good on that department. So now, Victoria, this is the portion where I will review how we prepare for the budget meeting that we will have in December. So do I need to stop and let you say anything there because we're done with that piece?
We will now move on to the information items. First, the principal report, which we've received some of that, but now we will go on to preparing for the budget.
Receive, let's go. All right, so now we are in this section. So we just did number 4. And so what this is, before the winter break, we will take we have another meeting and then we'll vote on our strategic plan and the rankings that we are prioritized for the next school year. So at that moment, again, because budget is for the next school year, and we'll talk about, is there anything needs to be changed, updated, ranked in preparation for the budget that has to be submitted shortly thereafter. So now we're going to look at the action plan for the strategic things that we just talked about on the updated part. Then we'll, as it says, after the motion and the second, the GO team may have some additional discussion around it. Once discussion is concluded, then we'll take a vote on the rankings. All right, so strategic plan priority ranking, the process we're about to do now in preparation for the 2023-2024 budget development time, which is between January and March of next year. The GO team will need to rank the strategic priorities using this next slide. So I'll come out of this again because I will need to type, but I want to show it to you first. So again, I just took all of those priorities that we talked about, and I'm going to add the last one because we added that one. I'm going to add that to it, and we'll take the time now. And so that means we need to decide what is going to be the first thing we're focusing on, what's the highest priority, not first thing, but the highest priority versus what is the lowest priority. And I'm going to keep it, actually, I'm going to keep it highlighted so we'll know that that is one that we added. All right, so let's discuss which is the highest priority. Which one do you think is the highest priority for us?
Mastery.
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 All right, I see a hand raised, Ms. Jacoby.
Hi, first off, I want you all to know that you guys are doing a great meeting and it's been very enjoyable. I apologize, but I do have to jump to support somebody else. Principal Green, I sent you a direct message with my cell number and office number. So if something comes up, feel free to text me or call and I can jump back. But you guys seem to have this like well in hand and but I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so mastery. So I'm gonna copy and paste this and put it over there as the highest priority. All right. What do you think needs to be second?
Prepare and develop.
Okay, prepare and develop. I like that. What you all think? Trying to find the strike through tool. Where is my person that can help me? Mr. So y'all know what I'm trying to do.
I don't know, just make it another color.
All right,
Highlight.
that's what I'm about. Let me just take it. Yeah, that makes it easier. Okay, let's just ones that we've looked at, we're gonna make that color. All right. Where is it? Prepare and develop. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct. Let's add that over there. All right. Okie dokie, what we got left?
I would definitely, because we're preparing and developing teachers, we would definitely have to make sure that we build that teacher capacity in their content areas.
Okay.
Because,
Okay. Now, as we're doing this, I want you all to keep in mind, remember from our last meeting, we talked about how we were moving towards STEM. But I also want to mention that from a past meeting that I've had in the last couple of weeks or so, we did receive some more guidance around what that looks like. So it's not such an aggressive push, right? They're more so focused on let's ensure that tier 1 instruction is tight first. And then we align and we push in with those other things that should be happening simultaneously. But because we are trying to get to proficiency, those are things that need to come first. So I want you all to understand that because I know STEM has been a heavy push and it still is, but we need to probably just look at differently how they want or expect that to look in a school. It's not so much more than that. This current year and next year is focused on just building the culture, making sure everybody even understands, right? What does that mean? What does it look like? What do students need to do to be a STEAM student? So just wanted to put that on your mind as you are thinking of ranking what needs to take priority. All right, so now we are on, let me change the color on that one. All right, this is what we got left. We have what's left here. Okay.
I would say recommend next, and then a STEM one.
Got it.
I would put the school culture.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I follow. All right. Culture. Okay.
Was a student of student achievement gap,
Mm,
education students and students with disabilities, but that school culture causes, and we're just talking about this as a whole, right?
right, right.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Oops, sorry, y'all.
I was gonna say, like, some of these seem like they sub things to things that's already said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like especially achievement gap, if we're working on mastery, that really is like, you know. So I guess I'm not.
So with this, it does, they live under the umbrella of, as you can see, it was under the umbrella of, let me go back to it so we'll know. It falls under fostering academic excellence for all, or, empowering leaders. So there are various different, as you can see, it falls under the same thing, and it may feel like, if you do one, you're going to cover the other one, right? But this is just making sure we're intentional about what we're saying we're going to do, and be able to attach a strategy to it. So yeah, I'm actually building the capacity of my teachers by developing their knowledge, right, on quality teaching, but I'm being intentional by saying I'm going to do it in ELA, math, science, and social studies. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only variant there, but you are right. It lives under instruction, or it lives under culture. So what do we have? There's 2 left. I see. System. Okay.
Next, and like you said, the parental involvement lives under the system.
Right. So now I'm gonna keep stuff highlighted because that'll let us know that something that was added. And different fonts make my nerves bad, so I'm going to change it all to one thing. Victoria, don't you say anything. Okay. All right. And thing bold drives me nuts too. Let's see. All right, I'm done. All right, so have we covered everything? Looks like we did. And for the sake of it being unified, I'm going to go ahead and change that to orange, and we're done. All right, so the next part of this is to vote on it and make sure that we're all in agreement on our ranking. And I'll let Robinson take the lead on that. We're going to vote and make sure that we are all in agreement before we say this is what it is.
So as it relates to the strategic plan and the priority ranking, I would like you guys to read over it and make sure you agree. And if you all agree, I would like a motion for us to accept the ranking as we have worked on it. But give yourself about 2 minutes to read through it and make sure you agree. If there's any changes, we can discuss that.
I move that we accept our priority ranking as posted.
I second that motion.
With a first and a second of motion, I say we now will move on to the next information item from our Principal Green.
All right, so this is just to give you a glimpse of where we're going for our next meeting. The next meeting, we will begin the discussion of the budget, and we will be in touch with you as far as if there's anything that I may need to send to you in advance to take a look at, or all those things will be discussed during that meeting. And if you have any questions or need any additional information in preparation for that, let me or Ms. Robinson know, and we'll make sure you have it in order to be sure you're prepared for that meeting. Because again, it just like this was an active involvement meeting, I will need that from you all at that meeting as well. And that's all I have for my presentation. And I will turn it over now again to Ms. Robinson.
Let's keep in mind that this was open to public comment. If there is no one here for public comment, we will move to announcements. Does anyone have any announcements for the good of the group?
I have an announcement. I did want to announce that when we met last, we talked about hiring an intervention support person to help support math and ELA for 8th grade because the class sizes were so large. And I am happy to announce that she is on board. She is amazing. Her name is Tara Hancock. She is awesome. She's come on board and got right in working with our students and building relationships with them. So we're happy to announce that she is a part of the 8th grade team. Also to announce that we did some data talks this current week. Coaches did those data talks, and I also met with one of the coaches. She's not on right now, but she created this document where shows the growth that our kids are making. And sometimes we get so caught up in what our students did not achieve, but there is something to say about the impact that our teachers are making on a day-to-day basis. They don't know it, they don't feel it, they don't see it always because the reward is not always immediate. And we know that as educators, but there has been some growth. We are growing as a school. It's significant growth. And that's a testament to the work that's being done here every single day. And I want to be sure to announce it to you all that the input that you have and the voice that you have at this meeting, it's needed, it's valued, and it's important because the things that come out in these meetings are, discussed in our admin meetings, and then it's pushed out into to our parents, and it's pushed out to our teachers. And so everything here is done in alignment for a single goal, and that's to do what's best for kids. And so I wanted to make sure I said thank you to you all, to this team for taking the time and being a part of this team. It's not easy work, but it's necessary work. And so I do value everybody's input as we are approaching this Thanksgiving season, to make sure you understand how thankful and grateful I am for the support that you all give our school. And you all provide, even those who are educators in our building. They pour into our kids and our staff during the day, and they continue to pour into them into the evening. And so it's very important that you hear that from me, that I'm very appreciative of the support and what you all do for our babies every single day. So just want to say thank you and to let you all know that the work is working and we are showing progress.
We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I motion that. Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions, please raise your hand. The meeting is now adjourned at 5:57 p.m.